And that's what
I'll tell you what, this is good news, bad news, as I see it. The good news is that this agreement does enable us, as it were, and I'm asking specifically that the representatives of Oakport Gloucester pay close attention to this question, because I want them to answer it. The good news is we are skipping to the end and nailing down now definitively acknowledgement of the public's right in perpetuity as a matter of deed for the free and open use as it's always been used as this beach, public beach. The bad news is, and it's unacceptable to me, so that I would probably vote no on this, okay, is that it should also say that the city is not waiving any right it may have to assert a claim by prescriptive use doctrine to the future ownership of this piece of land if it should so choose in the future. I don't think we need to make that move now, but I don't think we should be closing the door on it. And I think it could very well be, with that language in there and that option preserved, that the city and its people may very well be very comfortable after a couple of years of practice that the easement is enough. But if anything ever went awry, or folks ever had heartburn, the right would be there. I would not advocate for a minute that we need to go to court tomorrow to try to take this by prescriptive rights, because it's multiple years, lots of expense, and agita for its own sake, which is needless in my opinion with the easement in place. But I don't want us to give up that option in case anything ever goes off track. What is your position on that, Mr. Cunningham?
John Cunningham, attorney for the Oakport Gloucester. My address 59 Main Street in Gloucester, just so that that's clear in the record. I want to just make one comment, and there's a subtle distinction between prescriptive easements and adverse possession. Prescriptive easement is the use of land which continues over 20 years adversely, and a court, if you go to a court, they can agree, as they did in the Swampscott case, that the public had the right to use the beach. Adverse possession is where someone comes into full title to the fee.
I understand that.
All right, I think you do because of your background, but I hear some of the questions where there's this subtle difference between adverse possession and prescriptive easement. So, an adverse possession case might be one where there's a vacant piece of land next to my house, and I put a fence around it, and I put a garden shed and a place ring, and my gardens and lawn, and I do that for 20 years, and the court would say, all right, we're granting you the fee to that. So when this subject was brought up, the city said, we want to establish in perpetuity the public's right to use this beach. And Beauport Gloucester LLC fully supports the continuation of that public beach. And we're trying to arrive at a document that does that and makes the city comfortable about it. So this fourth paragraph that was added talked about the city not waiving any rights that it has. And if the city attorney and the city council wanted to expand that to preserve that right to come back later on for additional prescriptive rights or even adverse possession.
Adverse possession is what I mean. Yeah.
I get it. I'm saying you could do both. That is, prescriptive rights, which is frankly an easier thing for the city to prove than adverse possession.
Understood. Yeah, I mean, so I don't want folks to leave this room thinking for a minute that we get a case that's a slam dunk. There's no such thing in the law. You go to court and you put it before a judge, you're doing a jump ball. Hope everyone understands that. So there is risk here. That's why the good news half of this is we're establishing the easement right, the full and open public use and enjoyment of this beach. It's a great thing. And frankly, I'm grateful for that. All right? And I hope everyone in this room is too. That being the case, however, you know, 20 years from now, I don't know who's going to be owning that property or what they're going to be doing or what different aspirations they may have for that beach. And it could very well be But at that point, folks who come along after us, sitting in these chairs or in the mayor's office, is going to want to assert the right to ownership of it, and they might nail it down forever. I hope it doesn't come to that, but I just don't want us to see that way. So I take it you're willing to clarify the language to capture that notion.
Yes, there's a sentence in that fourth paragraph that deals with it, and it frankly could be broadened to include that so that you're satisfied.
Rights of to assert adverse possession rights.
Prescriptive easement or adverse possession, I suppose.
My understanding is, excuse me, but nobody can take adverse possession of municipal land anyway.
We could take it, but they can't take it.
Exactly.
People can't take public. I mean, what we're looking at here is, what, 180 years of exclusive use and control by the city. And my 59 years on this rock, I've never seen a private property owner assert any aspect of the kinds of indications of ownership that you might expect. No one's fenced it off, no one's raked it, no one's put chairs down there and said, this is my land, I want to hang out here. It's always been, I mean, lifeguards, trucks to pick up the stuff, people picking up the stuff, city employees getting stuck with needles down there. I had a guy go through some very difficult times in the 1990s with all the churn that caused in his life. That was the city. It's been 20 years in my time. So I would like to see that captured.
It's fine with us.
Okay.
And Susan and I can work on some language for your review on that subject.
Super. Councilor Burke.
And I just want to say, for the record, I do know the difference because of my background, but I agree with what you're saying. That's why I wanted that phrase out there, because I do want to have, to quote Joe Schulman, have that tool in our toolbox, you know, if we have to come back to it. But this is a good, for now, with that language inserted. And then if the need be, we have that clause that we can come back.
And if I could just add that I think by adding that clause, it would help to protect us with future people who will say that they own the rights to the beach. I mean, it's a big beach, and we're only looking at a little portion, and for us to say, and to put that clause in there, it puts everybody on notice that we're not giving up our rights. We never gave up our rights by signing that easement of same, so I think it would be beneficial to the city, and I thank you for listening.
Yep, very supportive of this public use of that beach continuing forever, and that's why we're doing this, and we're happy to add that provision if it brings comfort to the public and the council.
Thank you. That makes us, I think, in every manner, shape, or form, abuse situations.